There is nothing truly lost in the mind of God. What appears to have vanished from your life still exists in the unseen realm, waiting for you to reclaim it. The world you see is but a reflection of your inner state. And if you dare to assume that what was taken shall be restored, life itself must rearrange to fulfill that assumption. God does not work through chance or luck. You operate through your awareness. If you dwell in the feeling of loss, you sustain it. But the moment you shift your consciousness to the certainty of restoration, the unseen forces begin their work. What was once lost is now making its way back to you in divine order through the bridge of incidents. What you have lost is not truly gone. It is merely unseen, waiting for you to call it back into existence. Nothing in this world can ever be taken from you unless you consent to its loss in consciousness. The great secret of restoration lies in the power of imagination. For imagination is not a mere faculty of the mind, it is the creative force of God within you. Everything you see in the world around you first existed as an unseen reality before it took form, and everything that has disappeared from your life can return in the same manner. If you dare to assume that what was lost is already restored, you set the wheels of creation in motion. Most people, when faced with loss, fall into the trap of mourning the absence instead of claiming the return. They observe their circumstances, accept them as fact, and unknowingly keep themselves locked in the very state they wish to escape. But the outer world is nothing more than the shadow of inner consciousness. What you accept as true within yourself must eventually be reflected in the world around you. If you continue to dwell in the feeling of loss, you will find more loss appearing in your life. But if you shift your awareness and assume the feeling of already having that which you desire, then by divine law, it must return to you. This is the secret Christ revealed when he said, "When you pray, believe that you have received it and you shall have it." He was not speaking in metaphor. He was giving you the law of creation. To believe you have received something when all reason denies it is the very essence of faith. Faith is not blind hope. It is the deliberate assumption of a reality unseen. It is knowing that the unseen is more real than what your senses tell you. And if you persist in this assumption, the outer world will conform to match it. You do not need to know how your restoration will come about. That is not your concern. Your only task is to dwell in the feeling of already having that which was lost. The means through which it will return will unfold in ways beyond your comprehension. Life will move in unseen ways. People will be influenced. Circumstances will shift. And what was once gone will find its way back to you, often in a manner so natural you may hardly recognize the miracle at work. There is a bridge of incidents that will lead you to your desired outcome. But that bridge is built only when you persist in the assumption that all is already restored. Do not let the evidence of the senses deceive you. What you see now is only a reflection of your past state of being. If you wish to change your world, you must first change your assumption of it. Assume that what was lost is already yours. Feel it in your heart. Walk as if it were true, and the world will have no choice but to make it so. The law is perfect, and it does not fail. If you persist in the assumption of restoration, nothing can prevent it from manifesting. But if you waver, if you return to doubt, if you allow the senses to convince you that all is lost, then you will delay the process. Therefore, remain firm. Keep the inner vision alive. Feel the joy of already possessing that which you desire. Let the conviction of its reality take root within you, and soon what was once lost will stand before you, restored, whole, and complete. God does not work apart from you. It moves through your awareness, your imagination, your very state of being. The power that creates and restores is not something outside of you, but within you, waiting to be consciously directed. Your mind is the temple where creation takes place, and every assumption you persist in becomes a command to the unseen forces of life. If you believe you have lost something permanently, you are declaring to the universe that it is gone. But if you dare to assume that what was lost is being restored, you set in motion the process of its return. Most people look to God as though he were an external force, separate from themselves, granting or withholding blessings according to some mysterious will. But the truth is far greater. God's will is always in harmony with restoration, with abundance. with fulfillment. The only barrier between you and the restoration of what was lost is your own state of consciousness. If you persist in the feeling of lack, you will continue to see lack reflected in your world. If you assume the state of one who has already received, then the very fabric of reality must shift to bring your assumption into form. The world you experience is nothing more than a mirror of your inner world. The events, the people, the circumstances, they all take shape according to the concepts you hold about yourself. If you see yourself as someone who has suffered loss, who has been deprived, who is waiting for something to return, then life will faithfully reflect that state. But the moment you shift your awareness and claim that what was lost is already yours, life must respond in kind. The world cannot help but conform to the assumptions you persistently entertain. Your consciousness is the operant power. You are not at the mercy of fate, of luck, or of the opinions of others. Nothing has power over you except the assumptions you accept as true. When you declare in your heart that your restoration is inevitable, when you walk with the inner knowing that God has already made a way, you unlock doors that were previously unseen. You will find people drawn to you, opportunities appearing, events unfolding in a way that leads to the fulfillment of your assumption. But it all begins within. There is no need to struggle or force things to happen. The law of consciousness does not require effort, it requires faith. Faith is not a desperate wish. It is a calm and steady knowing that what is assumed in consciousness must be expressed in the world. The moment you assume the feeling of already having that which you desire, the process of restoration begins. The outer world will not change immediately, for it is only the shadow of past assumptions. But hold fast to your new state. Remain unwavering in your belief. And soon, the shadow must follow the substance of your new awareness. Do not allow appearances to deceive you. The loss you see now is nothing more than a temporary reflection of an old state. It has no power except that which you give it through your attention. Withdraw your attention from the past, from the feeling of lack, and turn your full awareness toward the state of fulfillment. Assume that what was lost is already restored. Feel it as real. Let the joy of its return fill your being, and watch as life rearranges itself to bring about your assumption in perfect divine order. God does not restore through struggle or hardship. He restores through alignment. When your inner world is aligned with the reality of restoration, the outer world must follow. There is no force in heaven or earth that can prevent the fulfillment of an assumption held with conviction. Trust the process. Know that what is yours can never truly be lost, and allow the unseen power within you to work in its perfect way. The moment you believe it is done, it is done. And soon you will stand in the midst of your restored blessings, knowing that it was always so. Once you have assumed the feeling of restoration, life itself must rearrange to fulfill that assumption. The bridge of incidents will unfold, leading you step by step toward the physical manifestation of what you have claimed in consciousness. You do not need to know how it will happen, nor should you attempt to force it. Your only task is to remain faithful to your assumption and allow the unseen power of God to orchestrate the events necessary to bring it into reality. Many people falter because they expect immediate change or visible signs before they believe. They look around and see no evidence of restoration, and in their doubt, they abandon the assumption that it is already done. But the process of manifestation does not work that way. The outer world is only a delayed reflection of inner states. And just as a seed takes time to sprout beneath the soil before it becomes visible, so too must the unseen forces work behind the scenes before your desire takes form. Trust the process, for the bridge of incidents is already being constructed, even if you cannot yet perceive it. Often, restoration comes in ways that seem natural and logical, so much so that you may be tempted to dismiss it as coincidence. But there are no coincidences in a universe governed by divine law. Every encounter, every conversation, every unexpected turn of events is part of the intricate web of circumstances aligning to fulfill your assumption. The people you meet, the opportunities that arise, the sudden inspiration that compels you to act, all of these are steps on the bridge leading you to the realization of your desire. This is why it is crucial to remain steadfast in your belief. even when the evidence of your senses suggests otherwise. If you waver, if you begin to doubt, you disrupt the process and delay the unfolding of your restoration. But if you persist, if you hold to your assumption as though it were already a fact, then life must comply. The bridge of incidents will take shape in perfect order, guiding you effortlessly to the fulfillment of your desire. It is important to understand that the bridge is not always smooth. Sometimes events may occur that seem contrary to your assumption. You may experience temporary setbacks or challenges that appear to push you further from your goal. Do not be deceived by appearances. What seems like a delay or an obstacle is often a necessary step in the unfolding of your restoration. There are times when the old must completely fall away before the new can take its place. Trust that even in these moments, everything is working for your highest good. Many who have manifested great changes in their lives have looked back and realized that the challenges they faced were not setbacks, but essential steps on their journey. The delay, the loss, the closed door, it was all part of the process, moving them in ways they could not have foreseen. What appeared to be a failure was, in truth, the hand of God redirecting them to something far greater than they had imagined. If you hold firm to your assumption, you will one day look back and see how every moment, every turn of events was perfectly designed to bring about the fulfillment of your desire. So walk in faith. Do not concern yourself with the when or the how. Know only that what you have assumed in consciousness is already yours, and life is now moving to make it visible. Every day, every moment, trust that the bridge of incidents is unfolding exactly as it should. Expect the unexpected. Be open to sudden changes, to chance meetings, to unexpected opportunities. These are not accidents. They are the stepping stones leading you to the restoration that was always meant to be yours. Nothing is ever truly lost in the mind of God. If you dare to believe in the unseen as though it were seen, you will summon the lost things back into your life. But to do this, you must first recognize that you are the operant power. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, nor are you a victim of fate. Your reality is shaped by your consciousness, and what you persistently assume to be true must, by divine law, become your experience. Most people live under the false belief that life happens to them, that they are subject to forces outside of their control. They believe that loss is final, that what has been taken from them is gone forever, and in doing so, they unknowingly shut the door to restoration. But you are not powerless. The same power that created the heavens and the earth resides within you. It expresses itself through your imagination, through your assumptions, through the feelings you accept as real. If you assume that what was lost is beyond your reach, then that will be your reality. But if you assume that it is already restored, then all the forces of life will conspire to make it so. The great secret is that the world outside of you is only a reflection of your inner state. Your circumstances, no matter how fixed they may seem, are simply the shadows cast by your consciousness. The moment you change your assumption, the world must begin to shift accordingly. It may not happen instantly, for the outer world takes time to rearrange itself, but the change is set in motion the very moment you accept the new reality within. This is why it is said that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith is not an idle wish or a vague hope. It is a certainty, a knowing that what you assume to be true in consciousness will become true in the world of form. When you assume the feeling of already possessing that which was lost, you have activated the law, and the process of restoration has begun. Whether or not you see immediate results is irrelevant. What matters is that you remain faithful to your assumption, for the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you in time. But be mindful, this law works both ways. If you dwell on loss, if you continue to tell the story of what was taken from you, if you persist in the feeling of being deprived, then you will only perpetuate that state. The outer world does not discriminate. It simply mirrors back the reality you accept within yourself. If you wish to see restoration, you must cease identifying with loss and instead embody the feeling of fulfillment. How would you feel if what you lost was already restored? Would you feel relief, gratitude, joy? Whatever that feeling is, dwell in it, live from it. Carry yourself as though your desire has already been fulfilled, and the world will shape itself to match your inner conviction. You are the operant power. And what you command in consciousness must become your experience. There is no force in the universe that can withhold from you what you claim as yours in imagination. Nothing is beyond restoration, no matter how impossible it may seem. The limitations you perceive exist only in your mind, and the moment you release them, you make way for the miraculous. Walk as though you already have that which you seek. Think from the end. See only the outcome you desire, and let the world rearrange itself accordingly. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the creator of it. Assume the reality of restoration, and it will be yours. Gratitude is not merely a response to receiving, it is the very force that cements your desire into reality. When you assume the feeling of gratitude before the manifestation appears, you signal to the universe that your desire is already fulfilled. This is the secret hidden in plain sight. The moment you give thanks for something you do not yet see, you have accepted in consciousness, must, by divine law, appear in form. As you most people wait to be grateful. They believe they can only feel appreciation once they see evidence of their desire. But this is the great misunderstanding that keeps them in a state of waiting rather than receiving. The law of consciousness works in reverse of what the world teaches. It is not, I will be grateful when I receive, but rather, I am grateful, therefore I receive. The feeling of gratitude is the proof that you have already claimed your desire in imagination, and the world must now move to reflect that inner claim. This is why Christ said, when you pray, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. To believe you have received something before the evidence appears requires a shift in consciousness. It requires gratitude in advance. The very act of giving thanks assumes the reality of the thing desired. You do not thank someone for what they have not yet given you. You thank them because you know it is already yours. This is the attitude you must adopt toward life. Gratitude is the highest form of faith. It is the final step that removes all doubt, all questioning, all impatience. When you feel truly grateful, you are no longer searching for signs or wondering if your restoration will come. You have moved beyond hoping and stepped fully into knowing. And once you reach this state, there is nothing left to do but watch as the world conforms to your assumption. But this gratitude must be felt deeply, not merely spoken as empty words. It must fill you with the certainty that what was lost is already restored. Imagine how you would feel if at this very moment your desire were fulfilled. How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you carry yourself? Dwell in that feeling. Let it consume you. Give thanks as though it were already done, and the world will respond accordingly. The power of gratitude extends beyond your desires. It transforms your entire experience of life. When you make it a habit to live in a state of thankfulness, you shift your consciousness from lack to abundance. You cease identifying with what is missing and instead become attuned to the infinite blessings that surround you. And in doing so, you open the floodgates for even greater manifestations. If you look closely, you will see that life is always responding to your inner state. Those who are constantly dissatisfied, always focusing on what they lack, continue to find more reasons to be unhappy. But those who cultivate gratitude, even in the smallest things, find that life gives them more and more to be grateful for. This is not coincidence. It is the law in action. What you focus on expands. What you focus on expands. What you appreciate increases. What you assume as true in consciousness must become true in experience. So begin now. Give thanks not for what you hope to receive, but for what you have already claimed in imagination. Walk in the certainty that your restoration is complete. Let gratitude fill your heart, knowing that the unseen forces of life are already working in perfect order to bring about your desire. And when it appears, you will not be surprised. You will simply smile, for you knew it was yours all along.